And joining us now direct from Tampa, Florida is Mr. Vince Baillargeon. He's the CEO of Paradigm Oil and Gas Incorporated. PDGO is their symbol. Vince, good to talk to you again.
It's my pleasure, Don. Thank you for having me.
Well, now, Vince, Paradigm Oil and Gas describes itself as a leading service provider to the oil and gas industry with expanding operations in oil and gas production. Can you give us a general overview of the company, please?
Yeah, Don, we started out really as a service-oriented business, but we have exploded in, and we're just really starting to take off in the oil production business. Right now we have roughly about 50,000 acres under management in 4 different states and 2 countries. We have close to 30 leases and about almost 300 wells. We are producing oil now. And this company is really on the move.
Well, Vince, you've been very active since we last spoke. You now have new wells and property in Louisiana. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we acquired several months ago when we were getting one of our properties over in West Texas. We picked up a property called the Lucy Lee and Mina Travis, which sits on the Tuscaloosa Marine Shale. We didn't know too much about it. We looked at the reserves. The reserves where our geologists had given some reports. The past reports said that there were roughly about 4 million barrels of oil underground, recoverable oil in those wells. We started testing them. We fired them up and we free-flowed them. We were very successful. And we uncovered on the first day of production, which we still didn't have our bonds or our P5s ready, but we pulled out 242 barrels of oil. I mean, it was amazing, and after some maintenance, we're getting ready to fire those back up. But on the Tuscaloosa Marine Shale, that's like one of the hottest properties out in the country now. There was a big report out that they are predicting there's almost 7 billion barrels of oil, of recoverable oil through Mississippi, Louisiana, in that territory, and we're kind of right on the edge of it.
One thing you've often said on the program, Vince, is that there's plenty of domestic oil reserves available. Can you reiterate that for us, please?
Well, it seems like everywhere popping up now that, technology's changed. There's so many ways from, your fracking to your, whether you're using acid to pour into the ground to build the pressure up to, they have laser technologies now that there are some companies out using. But, there's wells and properties in Kansas, Illinois. We looked at a property. They were producing very well in oil. Pennsylvania, the Dakotas, New Mexico, the whole United States, there's a lot of oil. And gas, we don't even talk about the natural gas in the United States because we haven't had, gas was so cheap years ago for the natural gas, and now it's increased so high, there's just been no ways of pulling it out of the ground and taking it over. You can't liquefy it, it's too expensive, so you have to have gas lines, but there's so much natural reserves in this United States, and right now I think we're doing about $2 billion a day in business just as independents out there.
I understand you've also expanded your operations in West Texas.
Yeah, in West Texas we have several properties. Right now we have one property producing, which is the Perry lease. We have the Perry 1 and 2A. We did some maintenance on them. We had them working about a month and a half ago, but because of rough winters, we did have to shut down for a while. We had some damage done, but we fired them most recently back up. They are producing oil as we speak today. They're averaging about $1,000 a day each well. We have some neighboring properties right in that area. We cover roughly, I would say, close to about 10,000 acres of land and probably about 60 wells in West Texas that are, they're shallow wells, but they are, once we have them all up and producing, we should be doing quite well.
Well, Vince, the company turnaround that you've engineered as CEO has been, quite frankly, remarkable. Can you give us some highlights of that?
Well, Don, this company, when I got into it, originally, I saw a company that was just sitting there idle, a lot of stock, a lot of dilution. it had reported assets. At one time, several years ago, it was a oil producing company. I went out and, cleaned it up. I've just completed getting the final phases of my audit done. We've gotten the wells up and running, and they're starting to produce. And, we've restructured the company, so it's pretty much primed to really start growing with.
Paradigm Oil and Gas Incorporated, PDGO's their stock symbol. Vince, why is this a good time right now for people to take a closer look at your company?
Well, right now the stock's at a record low. The company's been restructured. It is producing oil. The audits are coming out. You'll start to see revenue. It's got real assets. You'll notice it when you see the audits. It's got millions of dollars worth of assets in this company. It's way undervalued. I think you'll see this really take off. I think this year is the year for Paradigm Oil and Gas.
Paradigm Oil and Gas Incorporated, stock symbol PDGO. Vince, of course, we've reinitiated coverage of the company. Looking forward to more updates from you over the next several weeks. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.